So it's no secret now that JARON Boots Ennis will be looking to move up to the super welterweight division if he can't land a fight with any of the other current champions at 147. I'm sure by now everyone saw what his pops Bozy Ennis had to say in a recent interview after Boots stepped all over Stanionis. Bozy said they're open to unifying some more, but that they're not waiting on anybody. That if guys like Barrios or Norman don't want to fight, they will be taking their talents to the 154-pound division. And because the most popular hypothetical matchups people want to see Boots in are bouts with Terrence Bud Crawford and Virgil Ortiz Jr., it makes sense why there would be no pushback from fight fans or experts. However, things could get interesting at welterweight if these reports that PBC was or is looking to make a bout between Mario Barrios and Errol Spence Jr. According to Barrios' trainer Bob Santos, it's been suggested by PBC that Spence could be next for Barrios. He said, and I quote, "Everything's on the table, but promoters at PBC are talking about Spence." According to Santos, this was said prior to Ennis' win over Stanionis on Saturday, following that up by stating, they're talking about, maybe we'll see how this fight with Ennis and Stanionis plays out. It could be an all-out unification, we'll see what happens. Now, because Ennis was victorious over Stanionis, that could mean that this idea went right out the window, being that Ennis is a DAZN fighter and Stanionis, Barrios, and Spence are PBC fighters. I'm guessing PBC was hoping Stanionis could pull off the upset in order to have the 3 titles in-house, which could have resulted in the winner of Spence or Barrios taking on Stanionis or Spence facing Stanionis, vice versa. But here's the thing with all that. Even if Stanionis couldn't get the job done, I don't see why Barrios vs Spence for the WBC title can't get made either way. I mean, yeah, mandatories will always play a factor, but if PBC already suggested Spence, that would only confirm why Spence won't be moving up to 154, given the fact that his bout with Sebastian Fundora fell through. If Spence plans to continue fighting, not only at 147, but in general, no way he turns down a fight for a title that he once claimed at said weight class. And if you're Mario Barrios, you not only have the opportunity to try and retire Spence for good, but it would more than likely be the biggest payday of Mario Barrios' career since his bout with Gervonta Tank Davis. It's a good tune-up for Spence and a huge opportunity for Barrios. Of course, Barrios is already on the list of options for newly unified lineal champion Boots Ennis. So by default, that fight already has a high possibility of happening. But now if Spence were to beat Barrios, which no disrespect to Barrios is more than likely what's going to happen, or more than likely what will happen, that means there's a chance we could see Errol Spence Jr. versus JARON Boots Ennis. Another welterweight matchup that once upon a time was on the radar before Crawford dog-walked Spence. A fight between Spence and Ennis now will legitimately be the biggest fight at the division if the 2 fighters can meet. Imagine Spence stepping in there with Boots and actually being victorious, bruh. That wouldn't only be a form of redemption since his beating at the hands of Bud, but that would arguably be the biggest win of Errol Spence Jr.'s career. Yes, Mario Barrios and Brian Norman Jr. still do have an effect on if it's a unified or undisputed bout, but man, if Spence returning to the sport of boxing only to remain at 147 wasn't one of the biggest monkey wrenches thrown into the mix, I'm sure Boots won't help but feel like he just got played, because just when you think the division is wide open, just when you think it might be easy pickings with the stationary Barrios or young Brian Norman, the one they call the big fish resurfaces, only to crash the party and fuck up the chicken. Not saying Boots won't fight Spence or that Boots would even lose to Spence, just saying a curveball like that can only be a pain in the ass, man. Because if you wait around for one of those guys to face you, you still have to deal with the criticism of you being a weight bully. And if you move up to 154 where it's actually dangerous, well now, you gotta deal with the trolls claiming that you're running from somebody at the lower weight class. Just when it looks like a win-win, you get hit with the old damned if you do, damned if you don't dilemma. Also, word is Manny Pacquiao could be making a return and was also suggested to Team Barrios as a potential opponent. Hey man, I don't know what's going on, but it's definitely interesting to see how this all plays out. I mean, nothing would surprise me at this point. Pop off.